I call the honourable member Kevin Haig.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I rise to take another brief call on this part one of the bill, and partly to respond to some of the comments that the Minister made, and secondly to make a further point. The Minister talked about some of the changes that the government had made in public health programs, referring particularly to the healthy eating, healthy activity programs, and I can't let that go unanswered, because while that was presented as if it were a positive development, in fact it's important that the House knows that that change was opposed by absolutely everybody working in public health, including all of the experts on public health matters. And it was a hugely retrograde step that took us a long way back. And Mr Chair, it reflected an approach that until now has not been very positive from the government on public health matters. And I am certainly aware of very many programs throughout the country and in many areas of the health sector that have lost their funding, or have lost sufficient funding that they've lost critical mass and are unable to carry out their very important functions. And so to put some actual numbers to that claim that I've just made, in last year's budget, so certainly mindful that there's another budget due tomorrow, in last year's budget, funding for vote public health was reduced in actual dollar terms by 14%. And that came on top of similar reductions in previous years. Now, to actually reduce the budget, not only in real terms but in actual dollar terms, signifies a problem with the government's underlying approach to public health. Now, sir, as I've said, I welcome the Minister's comments about what I've had to say in this debate to date, and I hope that this bill will signify a very substantial change in the government's attitude towards public health and towards health promotion. The second point that I wanted to make was, I guess, picking up on the question that Grant Robertson asked and the Minister answered about what the role would be for the Ministry of Health in public health and health promotion going forward. And the particular point that I wanted to raise was a related question, sir, and that was what is happening with Section 14 of the New Zealand Public Health and Disability Act, which establishes the Public Health Advisory Committee. And sir, I'm a person who used to chair that committee, and it's a committee that I believe has done a lot of sterling work. Its reports, for example, on factors that lead to adverse public health outcomes, looking at social factors, looking at environmental factors, has been extremely important. Its report on child health is a landmark report. The work that it's done on the health of prisoners, for example, all extremely good and valuable work that has essentially stopped over the last couple of years. Now, the National Health Committee must establish a Public Health Advisory Committee, and yet that committee has essentially not existed for a couple of years. And not only the members of the committee have gone, its secretariat has gone. So it's entirely non-functional, a statutory requirement that the government is not, in fact, implementing. And that function of advising the Minister and advising the National Health Committee on public health matters is an extremely important one in the sector, because as I've already outlined, the kinds of things that we're looking at in health promotion are very often, even though they are the interventions that have the biggest bang for their buck, actually produce the most health gain for the dollar invested, may take a long time to actually realise those big gains. And so that's why it's important that we have a committee like the Public Health Advisory Committee that's able to take that really long-term view and provide that really high-quality advice to the Minister and to the National Health Committee to inform public debate about public health matters. And so I invite the Minister to respond to that question.
I call the honourable member, the Wissa Wall.
Kia ora, Mr Chair, and thank